Today, we're going to form what love looks like from God's view, not our view. This is what he says, John chapter 13, verse 34. Jesus looks at his disciples and he says this, "A new commandment I give you, that you love one another." Well, that wasn't the first time they'd heard this. It wasn't the first time that they were encouraged to love. But Jesus is about to take this a little deeper. He said, guys, I'm giving you something you've got to know the value of, and you got to understand the importance of. Jesus said, I'm giving you something new, that you love one another, but then he doesn't leave it there. Just as I have loved you. I want you to love to my standard of loving. I want you to love to my standard of giving. See, Jesus knew that in a few short hours, he was going to give up his life to prove his love. And he looks at his disciples and he said, here's the importance, guys. You got to love as I've loved you. But then he throws this out for you and me this morning. By this, by how you love, will all people know that you are my disciples, that you love one another. There was more than the challenge to just love. There was a challenge in this to love like he loved. That's the catch. And you know all the disciples are scratching their head. Remember, that doesn't all make sense to them yet, but it's going to. In a few short hours, it's all gonna to bear down on them, where all this is gonna begin to make sense. And I would even say in the world that we live in, we need love more now than we've ever needed it. Would y'all agree with that? What do we need to know? What do you and I need to know? The great writer Carl Menninger said, love is the medicine for a sick world. And it really is. To do this, we got to do, number one, we got to make time for others. We've got to make time for others. Now, under that, I want you to write down two words, okay? Selfish or selfless. Those are your two words. Selfish or selfless. None of us wake up in the morning, look in the mirror and go, I need to be more selfish today. I mean, nobody does. Nobody looks at it and goes, you know, I need to make sure that I take care of me first. Nobody has to think about that. We do it naturally, right? Selfishly, the only person I really need to make time for is me. That's selfish. Selfless says, others are more important than me. Selfish says, I'm most important. Selfless says, others are important. Here's what we know. When Jesus gave this new commandment, it was a selfless commandment. Look at the way Paul wrote it in Philippians chapter 2. Don't look out for your own interest, but take an interest in others too. You must have the same attitude that Christ Jesus had. Here's the hardest part of this one. We want to be graded on what we say, not what we do. You want to build a great relationship with other people? Look out for them more than you look out for you. It's hard to not love someone who just chooses to love you in spite of you. Others. Point number 2, ready? Make allowances for others. Make allowances for others. I want you to write a little statement down. This sounds terrible, but I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. People are going to let you down. Would you write that down? Even people that you love. People are going to let you down. Even people that you love. Somebody is going to hurt you that you love. Somebody's going to disappoint you that you love. Somebody that you're counting on isn't going to come through like you thought they were going to come through. To love them does not mean you will agree with them. To love them does not mean they're always going to come through for you. To love them does not mean that you're going to change their opinion. To love them means that you just choose to love them in spite of them hurting you. Hurt happens. Here's where it gets interesting. What you choose to do with the hurt is going to be the question. If you make allowances and you forgive quickly, you will heal. But if you don't, here's the progression. The hurt, I want you to write out beside it the word grudge. You hold a grudge against them. You will get hurt. What you do with it is going to see if we have this new kind of love or not. If I don't make allowances for others, I'm going to hold a grudge against them. But the grudge never stays a grudge. We don't just stay, well, you know. It becomes a grudge, becomes something even bigger. A grudge turns into resentment. Would you write that word down? Oh, we resent them. The problem with it is it doesn't stay resentment. Here's the next word. Here's the dangerous word. It turns into bitterness. We don't think about them sometimes. Bitterness is when you think about them all the time. And here's when you know it's bitterness. You want ill for them. It's not that you don't pray that they'll be blessed. Now you're wanting something bad to happen. The deeper the hurt, the deeper the wound, the harder the forgiveness. You know what I've learned in my life? I've learned that the quicker I forgive, the better off I am. And sometimes it's not a one-time forgiveness. I got to remind myself over and over and over. Nope, I let them off for that. Make time for others. Make allowances for others. Number 3, make room for others. I want you to write down this thought under number 3. I need relationships. The better you are with people, the more rounded your life can be. The more critical you are, the more selfish you are. Finally, number 4, we make sacrifices for others. You can't separate love and sacrifice. You can't say, I love you, if you're not willing to give up something for them. What if we learn to sacrifice? Like he sacrificed for us.